Kenza James. For our new and old subscribers, you're all welcome to today's tutorial. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to draft a jean pant, and it's going to be a wide leg pant. Some call it boot cut, right? So the legs are going to be wider, and the body that's from the knee upward to the waist is going to be tight, right? We are going to be focusing on the pattern making today, and in our next video I'm going to be showing you how to sew the trouser together, right? And I'll be using this light blue jean. I don't know, maybe the camera is not catching the exact color though, but I'm using this light blue jean and it's really pretty. I found this the other day when I was in the market searching for fabrics, and I was so in love with the fabric. So I have 3 yards of this. We might not be using the entire thing, but let's see how it goes. So I'm also going to be using this ruler, which has my curves, is my pattern master, a tape, a pair of scissors, an eraser, a pencil, and of course our pattern paper, right? So if you want to see how to do this, do ensure to subscribe and also like and watch to the end, right? And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so that whenever I have videos like this up on my channel, you'll be the first to be notified when those videos are uploaded. So without further ado, let's get into my paper. My pattern paper is not long enough. It's around 37 inches. So I added, or 38 inches thereabout. So I added 10 inches more by just taping it. You can see I just taped it down. So I'm going to start drafting now. So at this point I'm going to mark the length of my pants. I'm quite tall, and so I'm going to make it 47. The length of my pants is actually 46, but because by the time I fit into those jeans, is when anything you're wearing that is tight makes it look a little bit shorter. So I'm adding 1 inch so that I get the exact length that I want. I want 46. That's because I'm tall. I'm really tall. Let me not say I'm quite tall. So I'm going to mark where my waist is. And mind you, I'm using the same paper to draft both the back and the front panel. So this is where my waist measurement is. So I'm going to measure that. That's around 3 inches out of this paper. So I'm just going to mark that 3 inches so that I can draw my lines. Just went ahead to extend that line. Now before I start drafting, I'm going to measure out 5 inches from this side. That's because we want a wide leg pant, so I want space to accommodate the flare at the down of the pant, at the bottom of our pant. So that's why I'm marking this 5 inches. So I would start drafting from the 5 inches instead of starting from here, from the beginning of our paper. So this should do. So this side will be where I would put in my waist measurement. So the waist I'm working with is 40 inches. The lap is 29. It's actually 30, but because the jean is elastic, that's why it's stretchy. Sorry, that's why I'm using 29. The hip is 47, but I'll end up using 46. Then the crouch is 12.5. Now for those who don't know how to take crouch measurements, you just sit on a flat surface and take your measurement from your waist, where you want the waist, to where your bum sits on the chair. So you're just basically measuring from your waist to the chair. So I'm going to insert my measurement from here. I'm marking my hip measurements. Now I'm going to be adding a waistband to this pant, so I'm taking out 1.5 inches for my waistband. Then I'm marking 10 inches like so, but mind you, my measurement is starting from 1.5 inches away. So I'm marking 10 inches, which is my hip point. Then I'm marking 12.5, which is my crouch measurement. Make sure you take your own measurement. My measurement and your own will not be the same. So the distance from my waist to my hip 10, and then to my crouch, which is 12.5. Now I'm going to just square that out like so. Let me do this so that you can see properly, right? I'm just going to ensure that I elongate the lines, right? So now on our hip measurement, I'm going to do my hip divide by 4, so that is 47. Well, let me just leave the 47 divide by 4, right? It's going to be 13.75. So I'm marking it here like so. I'm starting from this line that I have here to here. Now the next thing is our crouch measurement. For on the crouch line, you're going to be inserting your lap measurement divide by 2. Now for your lap, your knee and your ankle measurement, you're dividing it by 2, but for your waist and your hip measurement, you're dividing it by 4. And sorry, I forgot to say, this pant is actually a high-waisted pant. So for the lap, I'm dividing the lap by 2, and I'm marking that here. Then for my hip, let me check my hip measurement again. For my hip measurement, I have 13.75. Let me just make it 13.5, guys. So because this fabric is stretchy, so I'm marking 13.5 on the waist as well. So I'm going to connect the waist to the hip measurement in a straight line like so, right? Now I'm going to come over to the crouch line and find the midpoint of that line. So I'm dividing that by 2 to find the midpoint of the line, so which is here. So I'm just going to make a point there. Then I come with my French curve. Now I'm just going to extend this line like so. Then I'll measure what I have here, right? I'll just come over here to square, to just use my French curve to make a curve connecting my crouch and my hip points like so. So now I'm going to continue with now I'm coming back to the waist, right? So now instead of measuring my waist measurement from here towards this side, I'm going to measure from here coming backwards. So I'm going to put my waist divide by 4 on this line like so. So I'm not going to be adding any dart on the front side of the jean. So I'm just going to be using, if you have a pant curve, you can use that to connect this side to the hip side. I'm just going to be connecting that like so. So I'm connecting my waist, you can see, to my hip measurements, right? So I'm going to measure from my waist. I'm taking out that 1.5 inches for that 1.5 inches, I'm going to put it out of the line to draw my knee line, right? So my knee is 21 inches. The length from my waist to my knee is 21. So I'm marking 21 like so as well. Now I'm going to be drawing out that line. Pants are really easy to draft, guys. So whatever this midpoint of my crouch that I have here, you can see I found the midpoint of my crouch, which is around 7.5. I'm going to bring in the same thing as well here to find. So because this line now is supposed to be straight, so I'm going to connect this point. I'm eventually going to rule it out to the hem as well, because it's the same thing I will need on the ankle side. Sorry about that, that's why we have our eraser. So now I'll be shifting this to extend this line. And then I'll bring it back. On my knee line, I'm going to divide my knee round into two. So my knee round is 18 inches. So I'm dividing 18 by 2. I have 9 inches, right? So now I'm going to be dividing that 9 inches by 2 as well, because I want to put half of the measurement on this other side of the line and half on this other side of the line. So I have 4.5, so I'm going to mark 4.5 on this side, then 4.5 on this side, right? So I'm going to connect this. I'm using a the curved side of my ruler to connect this side. It's a slight curve, guys. That's why you need a pant curve, but it's okay, you can do it even without a pant curve. So now I'm going to connect this to my crouch measurements using a curve as well. That's because the human body is not just straight out. So you can see we already have something looking like a pant already, right? So you can see. Now I'm going to come over to do the bottom part of my trouser, right? So you're going to determine how wide you want the leg of your pants to be, right? So I'm going to, let me just check, let me check what we have here. You determine how wide it is. So let me make a total of maybe 40 inches. So I'm doing 10 here. I'm dividing it by 4. So I'm doing 10 here, 10 on this side. You can do more or less depending on what you want. At this point, you're at liberty to choose what style of pants you want. So if you want a pencil style pant, you can just make this side slimmer. If you want a straight cut, you just measure what you have on your knee and put the same thing here. If you want a wide leg pant, you extend it just like I'm extending this one now, right? So from the knee, I'm going to connect to this point that I'm seeing here. To the point that I marked, I'm just going to go ahead and connect from this knee point like so. Right? So I'm going to be doing the same thing on this side as well. So this is what the leg of our pants looks like, right? Your leg is already beautiful. You can see this is our pants. So now what you want to do is get your French cuff on this knee side. You want to just even out the shape, because the human body is not angular, right? So it's a subtle curve. So on all the knee points, you want to just make the curve really subtle. So at this point we have our front. So at this point we are going to be doing the back, right? So for the back, which means if you're using this method, you're going to cut the back first before you come out and trim off the additions you made on the back before cutting the front, right? So at this point, on the crouch line, at this point I'm going to extend it by 2.5 inches, like so, right? That's because the sewing allowances on pants goes to the back side of the pants. You don't have to do that. There are so many methods of drafting pants that I've seen so far, but this works better for me. That's why I'm using that. Then on the knee line, I'm going to extend it by 2 inches. It's just the crouch that will be 2.5. Every other place will be 2 inches. So I'm extending 2 inches, and to the hem 2 inches. That's on the inner thigh of the pants, right? So you can see I'm not doing that on the side seam line. There are people who add sewing allowances even to front and back pattern of, so they just go ahead and distribute the sewing allowance to the front and the back. But I tried that method and it didn't work out well for me, so I don't know, maybe I didn't get it right. I'm just going to smooth out this side like so. Then on this crouch side here, I'm coming down by 0.5 inches, 0.5 inch, like so. Then I'm making a mark there. Now back to the waist, I'm going to measure whatever I have here, right? I have 10 inches. Now on the back I want a dart, so I'm going to add 1 inch of that on the back, which is 11 inches, right? So I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches for my butt rise. This will enable my butt to sit properly on the jean, so it gives more coverage for the bum, especially if it is a low-waisted pants that you're doing. You really need to do that. You can even go up by more. So I'm going to put my ruler here plus the 1 inch for that, then take it up to my butt rise and see what I have. Then I'm going to mark that point. So this is the point on the back. So now I'm going to connect it to this point here, right? So it's a slanted line, as you can see. Now on the front of this pant, I'm going up by 1/2 inch. You can do less, but you need to go up. Just going to connect that. This will enable the pants to sit snug around your waist, right? So because I went up by 1/2 inch, I'm going to come down on the waist side here by 1/2 inch. That's on the front panel. So I'm going to connect that point, right? You could use this curved side of your pant curve, or you could do it as a straight line. Just using the curved side gives it more definition, so it makes it nicer. Sorry that my hand is blocking you. When I raise it, you see. So you can see. So this is now our new line. So I'm just going to clean these inner lines so that you don't get confused, right? So this no longer becomes our waistline. This side is now the new waistline. Now I'm going to measure that to be sure that I have 10 inches, right? So I still have it. It's still my 10 inches, right? So which means I'm good to go. So let me clean this other line as well, so you don't get confused when I'm cutting. Guys, who remembers this eraser when we were kids? They used to call it Tiki 20 then. Now for this side of the back, on the back side, this side, for the back side, I'm just going to even it out into that initial line that I made. So I'm just going to use my curve to just even it out like so, right? Now I'm going to connect this line to this other side. So from the beginning here, I'm going in. Now it's this side that I'm connecting. I've dropped this side by half of an inch, so it's from that half of an inch that I'm going to start connecting like so. Then I'll connect it like so, right? So this is the back side. This is the back side. So guys, when I laid out my fabric, I discovered that the bottom part of the pant was too wide. That place I used 10-10 on each side of the line. So I ended up cutting it back to 7 inches and I laid it on the fabric. I pinned them down. Everything was nice and properly pinned down. Then I went ahead to cut. That is the back side of the pants first that I'm cutting out before trimming off the back side that I drafted. You can see the lines of the back side. After cutting the back side of the pants on the fabric, I went ahead to remove my pattern and trim off the excesses. That's the seam allowance that I put, the butt rise that I put, I trimmed it out, and then I cut the front part of the pants. So now I want to show you how to draft a pocket pattern, right? So you're going to determine what type of pocket you want. Do you want the slanted pocket that is slanting straight towards the hip, that pivots towards the hip? That would be fine. And then, or do you want the other pockets? There's this other pocket. You want the other pocket that is like sort of curved like so on this side. So you have to determine what you want in your pocket, right? So I'm going to measure 4 inches like so to here. Then I'll measure the length of the pocket as well. Let's say 4 inches as well, right? That's if you want that other type of pocket. Then what you want to do is to make a curve to come like this. You want to make a curve that is sort of this shape, right? Then you cut it out. So you're going to use that side, and then you can insert that other smaller pocket that is inside another pocket. I don't know what that's called, but you can insert that other pocket as well using this method, right? But I'm not sure if I want to use pockets on this jean yet, but let's just make the line just in case I decide to add the pockets, right? So let me just, so if you're using the pocket on your own, in case I decide not to use the pocket, if you're using the pocket on your own, you're going to cut this out, right? you're going to cut it out when you're before you cut your jean. But because I'm not sure yet, I'm going to leave that part of it first until I decide to sew. And then for the back pocket, you're going to get a piece of paper like this. Then you want the piece of paper to be measured at least 5 inches wide, right? Then the length as well should be maybe 5 or 5.5 should do. Let's say 5.5, like so, right? 5.5, like so. Then at this side, I'm going in by 1 inch. On this side as well, this corner, I'm going in by 1 inch. Then I want to come up 1 inch here. At the side here as well, I'll go 1 inch. This depends on the shape of pockets that you want to achieve. I'll go up on this corner as well, 1 inch. Then 1 inch here. So what you want to just do is to cut these sides, this 1 inch to meet this other 1 inch here. This is determined by the shape of the pockets that you want. So this will be your back pocket, right? So this will be your back pocket. So when you're cutting, you need allowance on this hemline to like fold in the allowances on the pocket. So you can see this is what your pocket at the back will look like, right? So this is it. So guys, it skipped my memory to show you how to cut the waistband, right? And I've cut out the back side already. So I'm just going to come with that back of my pant and trace. I'm just going to trace it off, just this curve around here. That's what I'm tracing off, just the curve, right? So I have it traced out now. So after tracing that out, I'm using my ruler to just straighten what I have traced. I'm using the curved side because it was a curve, remember. Right, so this was the curve. Now I'm going to extend the lines like this upwards. So you remember we said we wanted around we wanted 1.5 inches waistband, right? So now I'm going to measure 1.5, or I'll do 2 inches because of the allowance to turn this side over, right? So I'm going to do 2 inches here and 2 inches here as well. Then I'm going to make 2 inches from the midpoint just so that I get it even. 2 inches as well, right? So I'm going to connect these like so. Right, so this is the back side of the waistband, right? So as you can see, this side is the butt right side. That's the back, the center back of the, so this side is the side seam, this is the side seam, this is the center back, right? So this side seam, we are going to be leaving it straight, but for the center back, I'm going to come in so that it wraps nicely, right? I'm coming in by 0.6 inches like so. Then on the upper side, then I'm connecting it to this starting point like so. So you can, when you cut this off and you cut it, it's going to be really snug, like it will hold your waist properly, right? So I'm going to add my green line so that we know, like this line is going to be okay. So this side is not going to be on fold, but I'm going to be joining this side. I'm going to be joining it to the front side. So let me trace off the front. And I just went ahead to join back my pocket side that so I'm going to trace this off. So this is my center front side, so I'm just going to make it start there so that we know. Then I'm going to follow the line with my curve. It's just the waistline that you want to trace off like so. I'm extending this line, then I'm extending this side as well. So remember, it's 2 inches because of the hemming allowance on that side. So I'm marking here 2 inches and 2 inches here. Then the center point 2 inches all round to 2 inches. I'm going to be connecting this side, so this side will be my green line. Remember, this is okay. No, this is the side front, right? So I'm going to just put my green line here, and then I'm going to be joining here to here, the side on the back, right? So for the front side, I'm coming in as well by 0.6 inches like I did to the back. I'm coming in on the front as well. Then I'm just going to connect that side like so. Now you can alter this shape at this point, so I'm just going to make it a nice curve. I'm just making it a nice curve like so, right? So that's going to be the front side where it carries the button, right? So I'm just going to cut it out. Now don't forget that I will need sewing allowance to join. I'm going to be needing sewing allowance to join this side. That's the main bodies of my jean. So this is the front facing waistband, and then this is the back waistband, right? So now I'm going to leave ½ inch sewing allowance or more. Don't worry about me not measuring it, because I'm going to be folding that. So I'll do the same thing here. Sorry guys, remember the allowance here, the allowance to join the body to the, I'm still going to shape out the allowance, but I'm just cutting it out first. But let me just cut out the allowance. Let me cut it out. When I'm cutting my fabric, then I'll add it. That's usually easier for me to know how much I need. So now the side back and the side front is going to meet like this, right? So just look out for your grain line. Let the arrow be equal. So I'm just going to connect the side front and the side back together. So this is what we have. So we are going to be cutting 2 of these. By the time this wraps around you, it's going to be nice like so. So this is what you have. So I'm going to be cutting 2 of these. Sorry guys, I said I was going to cut 2. It's actually 4 of it I'm going to be cutting, because I'll need to turn over with one other one. So I'm cutting out 4 pieces. So I just went ahead to cut the 4 panels of my waistband, leaving seam allowance to join the pant to the waistband. And here are all my panels, guys. The front, so if you enjoyed this video, guys, please give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I have a new video up on the channel. And if you do use this tutorial to recreate yours, please ensure to tag me on all my social media pages, TimiKemsAtJames on Instagram and TimiKemsAtJames on Facebook. I would be so glad to see all your recreations. See you in my next video, guys. Bye.